a short one. Hopefully we'll finish it within the half hour. To wrap up this beautiful Zman that we had together, Baruch Hashem, and heading towards Chag HaGeula, Zman Cheruseinu. It's going to be good times ahead. So, here, take one of these. David, take a paper. All right, Yedua Shevelelos HaPesach Me'irim Giluim Nailim B'Yoser. It's known that the nights of Pesach, there are extraordinary high levels of revelation taking place. Al derech bedugmas hagiluim shebiyitzias Mitzrayim b'pam rishona. Hello, he says the actual revelations that are happening are as significant as the first time that they happened, which was mamash the night of the original Pesach. That level of godly revelation is actually taking place. Hashem took us out with this awesome fear. And the sages said, "B'mora gadol zeh gilui shechina." So the revelation of the Shekhinah in its full measure is happening the night of the Seder. You might ask yourself, how come you don't see it? And that's exactly what this sikha is about. The very highest level of the gilui of the Shekhinah, as the sages said, "V'yotziru Hashem Mitzrayim." Right? God took you out. Lo ayidei malach, lo ayidei saraf, lo ayidei shaliach, ela kadosh baruch hu bikvodo ba'atzmo. Right? As we discussed both in the afternoon class and at great extent in the morning class, this could not be done through any of the levels of the Seder Yishtalshlus, which are indicated by the words malach, saraf, and shliach, but rather by HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself, bikvodo ba'atzmo. And we already learned 2 days ago what bikvodo ba'atzmo means. That Bichvoda Ba'atzmo refers to Malchus of Ein Sof and Tiferes of Ein Sof, levels which are basically too extensive to describe in our limited Zman, but I think we can all picture that which is totally beyond comprehension. In other words, like we literally are still reminding ourselves every single day that we went out of Mitzrayim and the revelations of God that took place. What he's trying to tell us is that on the night of Pesach, when you're sitting over there, those revelations are happening. And here's the point. You say, I don't see it, Rabbi. I don't feel these revelations. So Yeduim anu shekein hu hametzias. Guess what? You don't feel it, but that's how it is. Right? It has to be, this knowledge at least, that's how it is. It has to be sitting inside of you like a certain reality. And this, again, this whole sikha is basically discussing this kind of very, very general theme. We talk about all these revelations, whatever the holiday is, and we're understanding what Zan, Malchus, and Ein Sof, and all these things, and basically we're just sitting here having a cup of coffee. On one hand, there's like a little bit of a gap between our experience and our discussions and our understanding. So first and first, he says, listen, it's like that, and that the fact that it is happening has to be sitting by you in a very serious way. And he said, let me explain to you first and foremost a story, right? And this story is actually said over by the Frierdiker Rebbe, right? There's too much ins and outs. You guys, yeshiva means to sit. That's it. You put your tuchas on the table and on the chair and sit. So tuchas, it's an expression. Anyway, so the idea is this is a very intense and kind of comical story from the Rebbe, but an awesome one. You may have heard it before; it's become famous. But again, this is 1963. The Rebbe even told this story once before in a previous Farbrengen regarding the Rebbe Rashab Nishmasu Eden, and it says he used to travel quite frequently for his health from Lubavitch to sort of the country. Right, to one of the nearby little townlets and cities where he would take rest for whatever that means for a Rebbe to rest. I'm not sure, but he would go sort of for health retreats. And at one such time, he was traveling there. There was a few people that sort of caught a tramp with him. They traveled with him, and they were traveling in his wagon. They were a little bit curious Jews. And they said, explain you're the Rebbe Rashab. Can you give us a proof that there's such a thing called angels? And he said to them the following mashal from the very trip that they were taking together themselves. And the mashal was as follows. Nesiyazo, he said, in this very journey, we're all on the wagon together. No simanu ata, that we're traveling at this moment. Amar kavod kedushas admon nishmaso Aiden. The Rebbe said there's 3 different opinions on this little wagon. The first opinion, there's those people who are sitting inside the wagon as passengers. That what's our opinion? We think we're traveling in this wagon in order to reach our destination, right? We're going to the country. We're going to have a little relaxation. That's our opinion. That's what this trip is for. Why are we even traveling there? Because we want to renew the power, our strength, so we can serve Hashem with renewed powers, right? Well, that's what we're doing here. That's our opinion. There's a second opinion, which is the das of the Bala Gala, the wagon driver. Shekavana Nasiya, he's not trying to go on vacation. That's not why he's traveling, right? It's who's right and who's wrong. It's different opinions. Like you ever see that little meme that goes around? It's a 6 or a 9. It depends which side you're standing on, right? There's another opinion here, and that the kavanah of this trip, he's just making a living for himself. He's traveling, not to get to here or there, to make a few dollars and put some rubles in his pocket. And why am I driving right now? I'm not driving to the country. I'm driving to put food on my family's table. That's the purpose of this trip. That's my opinion. And then, of course, you have the opinion of the horse. He doesn't know that there's one city over here and there's one city over there, that you're traveling. His whole idea and his mind, he's got one opinion, and that's on this little hay that's in the basket that's sitting in front of his nose, right? Because he explains what that hay is doing there. They used to put a little hay basket in front of the horse's nose, right? And basically right in front of his eyes. And thereby it would hasten his travel, because he was basically running after this hay, as is known. When you see this tevin in front of him, he would run faster. So as far as the horse is concerned, this trip, my opinion is, we're going for hay. And the Rebbe continued. I just feel like it's just a line. You don't want to let go too far. What was the Rebbe's conclusion? He's trying to prove this guy that there's angels, right? He said, he says, because the horse is thinking about hay, an angel's not an angel. You got to take a second to think about that, right? But this is what he says. Just because, in other words, you basically he's calling the guy like an imbecile. He's like, you're sitting here trying to figure out if there's angels. The fact is, there's angels. The fact that you're looking at hay and you're having your whole little operation here with your Nefesh Bahamas, thinking you're running around and living in this world where you have an opinion that there's not angels, it's because you're a horse, basically. But if you were like just a little bit of a higher level person, you wouldn't question, is there angels? Of course we're going to the city, and of course we're going to the city to rest, to renew our powers for our avodas Hashem in the future. It's not something that has to be proven or not proven. It's just that you're living in a world of hay. So because the horse is thinking about hay, an angel is not an angel. It's a line. Of course, there's no detail of a story, of a Hasidic story, that every piece is not relevant. But in the Seder of things, we're more focusing on the lowest level of, yeah. In other words, at least you can be like a Chassid where you're not mamish involved in your Nefesh Bahamas all day long. You can realize that there's some people traveling with me that might have bigger ideas, and you're at least on the breed of human being, even though you're sort of off doing something else that's not really the real purpose of this trip. But whatever, that's for another for bringing. We're trying to make a point. Al derech zeh b'inyanenu. He says the same thing is true regarding our questions. Anyone remember what our question was? Yeah, if on the 15th night of Nisan there's mamish the level of Yetzias Mitzrayim with Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bikvod Ba'atzma, it's all happening. How come I don't see it? So he says this story is an indication of the answer. And it's not just an answer to this question; it's an answer to a lot of questions. He says regarding all the revelations of the Chag HaPesach, and in general, when it comes to all spiritual matters. This is not just a question for Pesach. That even though from the standpoint of the horse's opinion, which is your nefesh bahamis, margishim rak metzios agashmis bilvad, what we experience and what we our relationship with the world. And again, it's not really our fault. A horse is a horse, right? You can't really get out of his horse. What speaks to him is this hay, right? That's what speaks to him, not the hey lachma anya, just the simple hey. Right, this is what speaks to the horse. He can't get out of it. Right, he feels the mitzias of gashmias. He's hungry. He smells a nice cholent in the other room. These things are very hard to shake. Below mitzias of ruchnias, he doesn't feel and experience spirituality. Nonetheless, you can explain to your nefesh bahamis. With many explanations. That there is such a thing as ruchnias. I was actually talking to my son yesterday about a similar topic. We had a little time in the car together. And we were saying that basically, when it comes down to an actual animal, because we were talking about, should you have a pet? This is how this came out. And I was saying, you have to be careful with a pet. What do you mean? It's not because it's going to bite you, but because your emotional attachment with a pet is a very interesting thing. Because basically, it's very comforting, right? It's extremely comforting. It just like sits there and looks at you with these puppy dog eyes, and like you're like mamash in love, and it makes you feel good. There's one little problem. The experience that you're having with the dog is not the same experience the dog is having with you. It's true. It's not. No offense to the dog, but he's looking at hay. Like he's not having this amazing emotional attachment that you're having. Which is fine, you know what I'm saying? If you can get your act together, you can basically still gain the benefits of the cat. He'll kill a few rats and bring them to your door, whatever. That's his business. But then I was saying the difference between that and your nefesh bahamis is that at least your nefesh bahamis is like b'tzura adam. It's in the form of a man, which means it's also an animal, right? But it's an animal which in theory could have a relationship with you, where you could create a developmental bond where you're not sort of throwing all of your energy and your love into something that is incapable of returning that love. But then it also comes out to which type of nefesh bahamis are we talking about here? Because the nefesh bahamis of a nachri, right? There's a reason why a Jew is not allowed to marry a non-Jew. It's because your love can never really be reciprocated. I don't know if you guys have ever had non-Jewish friends and so forth, which I have many, but the reality is that it's not at the level of your pet, chas v'chalila, but it's not at the level where the love that you're trying to imbue in this person can actually be reciprocated. And it's a losing battle. You will wind up at the end of many years of, so to speak, a marriage, feeling like I never had a partner. Because you have to be able to, even though it's an animal, if the animal is able to take the tzura of Adam, you can actually speak to the animal. And imagine if your pet, mamash, was like, hey, I'm with you. I'm feeling your pain. I have mamash sensitivity to you. And I'm with you in this life. You can count on me. That's the nefesh bahamas of a yid. It can be spoken to because inside of it, there's a nefesh elokis that has a little conversation with it and can make it come into a state of kedusha. It's a wonder, actually, that the horse in this story, in theory, could get the opinion of the people in the back of the wagon. So, in other words, has to be a Jewish animal, right? There's animals and there's animals. Yeah.
So boys don't love each other either.
There's not an Indian of the same. Look, and a dog also loves, and it is a companion, and it is special, and it is real, right? And even in the animal kingdom, you find certain animals that mamish, they may make one mate for life, and they bond. And in other words, there is an emotional attachment, and it's real at the level of the horse. It's just that there's different levels of emotional attachment, and this is why, for example, it says Shema Yisrael. Look, we're recording this. I don't mean to just cause a storm in an environment of total anti-Semitism taking over the whole world here. I'm trying to just explain to my Talmidim here a little something. Why not to marry a goy? But the idea is that when it comes down to it, there's a mitzvah called Achdus Hashem, Yichud Hashem, Yichud Avaya. And it says, who is this mitzvah for? You'll find it, strangely, it's not one of the 7 mitzvahs of Bnei Noach. Why? It's like the most simple, basic thing, that God is one. But it says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. This is literally directed to the Yisrael. Because there's some inner sense that you have of a truth that is not necessarily free for all. Not everybody has this deep inner understanding of the oneness of reality at that level of existence. Everybody's free to convert to Judaism, and everyone's free to find it. It's not like it's owned by certain citizens. Why do we say, if you want to convert to Judaism, prepare to be in pain, right? This is like what you say to a convert, because to find your way into that, look at we have Kohanim over here. If you want to go into the Beis HaMikdash, guess what? You're going to have a whole new set of laws that you could be killed for if you want to get that close to Hashem. It's not so simple, right? You have to sacrifice. But the point is that there are levels of bonding, but the ultimate level of bonding, becoming mamish basar echad, to become one, it's something that your nefesh Bahamas has to be a kli for, that you can actually speak to it, and it can actually speak your language ultimately. And that's what we're saying here, that even though you're a horse, right? But you can hear ruchnius, right? The nefesh Bahamas can feel the existence of the ruchnius, right? Let's look inside here again. I lost my place. Margishim rak matzias agashmis v'lo matzias ruchnius makom makom. Right? This line, it starts Yecholim, page 271. Yecholim masbir gam nefesh Bahamas. You can, in theory, explain to the nefesh Bahamas bekama rayos, with many proofs. Again, not everybody's going to hear those proofs. Not every animal is able to hear those proofs. Guess what, animal? There is the existence of spirituality. I'll prove it to you. I'll sit you down in front of the altar Rebbe's Torah, or give me an hour, I'll show you. Not only is there the existence of ruchnius, but what's more than that, that the experience of ruchnius is the real opinion. You're running after hay, and you're positive that that's what's going on over here. I'm telling you, not only is there a wagon driver, not only are there passengers, that's what this wagon is here for. You're totally lost in some other place. And the only reason you don't have that opinion is because it's not natural to you, because you don't feel it, right? In your natural body that Hashem has given to you. But if you be sensitive, work on yourself, I can explain it to you, says the Nefesh Elokis. Therefore, it's imperative that despite the fact that you don't feel these things, you have to come and learn them over and over and over again. Don't you find it curious? No one's asked me this in a while. Rabbi, I've been sitting in your class for 2 years, some of you, and I still have not felt one mamish honest feeling of love of God. And every day I come and I learn Chassidus over and over and over and over and over again. Ain't so, where's the love, right? I never heard anyone ask me. I'm waiting, because maybe some of you are pretending, right, that you're feeling this love. But I'm sorry to tell you, you might not. You have to learn even the highest things about Melech, Malchei, Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though you don't feel them. Don't feel like you're the only one. The Yesh Lahosif B'zeh. The Rebbe is he's speaking to our broken hearts right now. Pay attention. He says, Yesh Lahosif B'zeh. I want to add that according to the Alter Rebbe, the founder of the one bringing us all this information that's supposed to show us and point us to Ruchnius, and he said that this year was actually 1960 was 150 years from his passing, which every single mimer and sicha and Farbrengen, the Rebbe mentioned that in that year, that it was 150 years. And one time, they asked this question to the Alter Rebbe, right? They asked the Rebbe, why are you speaking about such lofty matters? In Yanim Nailim, Madregas Gavos, Chule v'chule. They said, who are you talking to, and what are you talking about? These were the Chassidim of the Alter Rebbe. He said, what does it help? Who do you think was asking the Alter Rebbe? Us in 2025? It was the Chassidim of the Alter Rebbe that were asking this. They said, we're not holding there. It doesn't help, right? Why are you talking about it? And the Alter Rebbe said, it says in the Pasuk, the promise of the future redemption is I'm going to remove the heart of stone from your flesh. And the Rebbe says, this was the teaching of the Alter Rebbe, he says, Leva Evan Dafka. Why does it say specifically the heart of stone? Seemingly, since man is not only heart, he's also mind, which is knowledge, and heart, feeling. Lama nemar hasirosi es leva Evan. Why does the pasuk say the future revelation? I'm going to remove your heart of stone. Why about my brain of stone? Isn't my brain also totally involved in nourishkeit? Acha inyan. So this says the Alter Rebbe. No, your brain's okay. When it comes to the moach Evan, you can have a brain of stone. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to the brain of stone, you have what they call breira. You have a choice. You want to start thinking about hay, or do you want to listen to the Rebbe Rashab in the back of the wagon giving a shiur about malachim? Because that's up to you what you put your mind on and what you want to be misbonen on. Your mind can sit around thinking about the Or Ein Sof as long and as often as it wants to. You're able and you need. Lif'ol hasaras moach ha'evan. Yes, you have to unstone your brain, in many meanings of that. Al yedei limud b'havana v'hasaga, by learning Torah in a way of understanding and deepening your knowledge, etc. Masha ein kein b'nogei lahasaras leva evan. When it comes to the heart of stone, good luck, says the Alter Rebbe. If you wanted all your meditation and all your deep mamash hasaga, and even your davening by richos and the whole 9 yards, that your mom is trying as hard as you can to feel something, if you want that to happen, I'm sorry. You can't really have it, what you're looking for, through your own avoda and bechlal in this managalis. That's why there's a promise in the future, I will remove your heart of stone. Because now, you're kind of stuck with your heart of stone. You are a horse. It's just that you're a horse that can be reasoned with. We simply do not grasp what is godliness. You're in a physical casing, which by design keeps you from experiencing that. What is it called? The knowledge of the Metzias, as opposed to the knowledge of the Mahus. In my 8 minutes, I'm going to use it all up. But this is a known concept. Right? What's the difference between mahus and metzias? The mahus means mahu, what it is, that I can actually point to it and mamish realize it, or the metzias is that it is. So I can't know what it is when it comes to elokus, but I can know that it is. I know there's a thing called elokus, and I can sit and meditate it and talk about it until all my days. But I'll never know what it is so long as I'm wrapped in gullus in a physical existence. The teva halev, it's the nature of the heart. And the way your heart is built, designed by God, is that it only gets excited from what it is, not that it is. Your mind might in fact get excited from that it is, that there's such a thing. But your heart, you won't have like a state of simcha and experience of the heart, of a feeling, when you just know that it is. You have to know what it is for it to experience real excitement. And this is the chiddush that will be in the days of Mashiach, turning the page. Sha'az yasir HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what it says in the pasuk. Basirosi means I will remove, says Hashem, your heart of stone. You, not so much. Right?